Good morning. Welcome to day 29 of our study. We just have two more prophecies to discuss, and then on the 31st, we'll just wrap up this series. Today's lesson is somewhat short, but I want to explain a couple things as well. We read in Matthew chapter 2, verses 13 through 15. Now when they, the Magi, had gone, behold, an angel of the Lord appeared to Joseph in a dream, and said, Get up! Take the child and his mother, and flee to Egypt, and remain there until I tell you, for Herod is going to search for the child to destroy him. So Joseph got up and took the child and his mother, while it was still night, and left for Egypt. He remained there until the death of Herod. This was to fulfill what had been spoken by the Lord through the prophet, Out of Egypt I called my son. Now Matthew is discussing what Hosea the prophet said in Hosea chapter 11 verse 1, if you'll recall that, Out of Egypt I called my son. Now Hosea was speaking about a literal event that took place when God called his son Israel out of Egypt. Hosea referred to an historical event which was a shadow or a type of the reality in the New Testament. Jesus Christ is the ideal Son of God, the individual Son, the Messianic Son. Where Israel was the shadow, Jesus Christ was the reality. Now, just maybe a side study for you tonight. There are generally four ways that the New Testament quotes the Old Testament, and I have them listed here. And on my Facebook page, Stuart Wallace Ministries on Facebook, I have a link to an article that explains how the New Testament quotes the Old Testament. And it kind of goes beyond the scope of our study today, but I would certainly encourage you to read that. The thing that we must remember in this section is that Mary and Joseph were warned by an angel to flee because Herod wanted to destroy Jesus. Now imagine the fear and the faith that must have been going through Mary and Joseph at that time. Traveling to Egypt must not have been easy. It is possible. Now, you kind of lose this just reading the narrative in the gospel, but it is possible that Mary and Joseph were away from their home in Galilee for as many as 2 to 3 years. They just went to Bethlehem, if you recall, to take part in the census, and then 3 years later they finally get to return home. But all the while, God was protecting Mary and Joseph and Jesus. The angel Gabriel directed Joseph to take his family to Egypt in order to flee Herod. The angel Gabriel had a very busy time at during this time, and he was very instrumental in the arrival of John the Baptist and Jesus. Gabriel is identified specifically in Luke chapter 1 verse 19 and in verse 26, and other places the angel of the Lord is mentioned. And we see several places in the Gospels where either it's Gabriel the whole time or it's Gabriel and other angels, but they are very instrumental during this time. They do play an important role in human history and in the lives of us individually. We read in Hebrews chapter 1 verse 14, where the writer of Hebrews says, Are they not all ministering spirits sent out to render service for the sake of those who will inherit salvation? Also, we read in Psalm 34:7, The angel of the Lord encamps around those who fear him and rescues them. In Matthew 18:10, See that you do not despise one of these little ones, for I say to you that their angels in heaven continually see the face of my Father who is in heaven. As a child of God, we are protected in many ways. Directly through God's intervention, the angels look out for us. Yes, we do have guardian angels. That's very biblical. But he looked after the children of Israel when they were in Egypt. Even in bondage, God cared for them. He protected Jesus, Mary, and Joseph from the harm of Herod in Egypt. And he protects us even though you may be going through something difficult. God never leaves you. He is always there to take care of you in one way or another when you're going through a difficult time. So tonight's hymn is called It Came Upon a Midnight Clear, and your reading again is in Matthew chapter 2 verses 13 through 15. Now tomorrow we'll continue our study. We're almost done, just a few more lessons. So until then, thank you for watching.